Hello everyone, I'm Mr. Furlong, and today we're talking meiosis. The process of meiosis is very similar to mitosis that we talked about earlier this year, but it has a totally different function. Meiosis ensures that the formation of haploid gamete cells in sexually reproducing diploid organisms. Well, what does all this mean? Well, first off, a diploid cell is a cell that has two full sets of chromosomes. So they're getting a set from one parent, a set from the other parent. Now, each set of chromosomes come in different sizes. They come in different shapes. There's different information on them, and where the centromere is located is going to be different, which is how we can identify which chromosome it is. Each set contains one chromosome from each parent, and we typically represent cells that have the full set of chromosomes by the symbol 2n. Now, the n, of course, can be any number. In humans, that's 23. In fruit flies, it is 4. Right? And then we multiply that by 2, and that's how we get the total number of chromosomes in the cell. All body cells are diploid. So all of our cells that make us up who we are going to be diploid cells. They would have all 46 chromosomes. The only cells that don't have all 46 would be the gametes. Those would be the sperm cells and the egg cells. This is a karyotype. And so this shows all the different chromosomes in a human. And you can take a look at, we have these sets numbered, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And then we have our sex chromosomes. In this case, we see 46 chromosomes, 2 at every numbered pair, and then there's 2 sex chromosomes. If you take a look real quickly, chromosome number 1 is the longest, chromosome 22 is the shortest. They have what looks like a barcoding on there that is going to be unique to each chromosome, but the barcode is the same in all individuals. And although there might be the genes for a specific trait on, say, chromosome number 3, those alleles can be different from one another. Haploid cells, on the other hand, contain only one set of chromosomes. And so we just use the letter N to represent the number of chromosomes. So these are going to be the gametes, the sperm cells, the egg cells. In the case of plants, it's going to be pollen cells. Usually what happens is that because these are the sex cells, 2 haploid cells come together to form that diploid cell, which is what we're going to be taking a look at today, is how do we get these haploid cells? Well, this is all taking place in the process of meiosis. So we have cells, for instance, in humans, in our ovaries and our testes, that are going to be producing these gametes. It starts out as a single cell that is diploid, and it will go through cell division twice in order to get 4 cells, each with half the number of chromosomes. So let's take a look at an example. Let's say we have a cell here that has 2 pairs of chromosomes. So its 2n number is 4. We have a long pair and a short pair. Right, so the long pair is one set, the short pair is another. Now, before meiosis begins, each one of those chromosomes are going to replicate. Although technically we still only have 4 chromosomes here, in reality there's 8. They're eventually going to separate. So they're going to go through meiosis 1, and those chromosomes will separate. So here we see we have a long chromosome in each cell and the short chromosomes in each cell. So that goes through meiosis 1, where the cells divide, and then it goes through cell division again. So each one of these cells are going to divide. But what's going to happen is we're going to end up with a cell that each has one long chromosome and one short chromosome. Which long and short chromosomes end up in each of those cells? It's totally random. But so now we can see that, okay, if this is a gamete that has one long and one short, when it goes through the process of fertilization, and these egg cells and these sperm cells that each would have one long and one short, we're going to end up with a cell that has 2 long and 2 short. So it has its 2n number of 4 chromosomes. The big takeaways here is that meiosis produces these 4 haploid cells, and they are genetically different from the parent cell. This is how 2 parents can have any number of children, and all of them would look different from one another because they're all going to have a different combination of genes, which we'll talk a little bit about that in the next video. So real quick, just to compare these 2 processes of mitosis and meiosis. Remember, in mitosis, we end up producing 2 cells. Those 2 cells are genetically identical to the parent cell. And in mitosis, those 2 new cells are diploid cells. In meiosis, we produce 4 new cells. These cells are haploid, so they have half the number of chromosomes, and no 2 cells are going to be exactly the same. So that's the basics of meiosis, and I'll see you in class.